Hello and welcome back to BlizzCon, our final 2 days of HGC 2018. Are you guys having a good time? Well, we're having a great time. We just finished watching Gen G take an incredible 2-0 victory over the One. The One will have to pack up shop and head home. Gen G advances to the round of 4. Up next, we've got North America versus EU, HeroesHearth Esports versus Team Liquid. It's gonna be amazing. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being here online. JC, Gilly Gluck, we're over to you.
That's right, we are moments away from our first iteration of NA versus Europe, and we are packing the house. I want all of you out there in here, in the seats, because this is gonna be a good one. But first, I have a few people to introduce to the desk. I've got Dreadnought and Jhow, and joining us once again is Tetcher. Dreadnought, what'd you make of that last match?
I mean, Gen G came out and did what they did best. I feel like a lot of teams, you know, though the One was able to make it to the stage, everybody is very thankful for that. Let's be real here. They were taking on a Titan like Gen G, and they just came in and cleaned up house.
Jhow, what can we glean from Gen G and how they're feeling? Can they keep the dynasty going based on what you saw?
That's the hardest part, is that they have not shown anything other than what you just saw in that round robin stage, and even now. I think other teams out there, when you get to the round of 4 and possibly beyond and potentially beyond, you just don't know what to expect yet. We've seen different teams show different strategies. Gen G has literally shown nothing but standard play.
And Tetcher, while it is sad to say goodbye to the One, it was an expected run, and it's still a huge achievement that they even made it to BlizzCon.
Exactly. It's as far as they've ever gotten. It's really cool to see that, and it is a stepping stone considering that they have slowly just placed higher and higher and higher as the years have gone on ever since that big drop-off. And it's nice to see that there is still evolution happening in that scene.
Well, I've got my fellow NA dudes up here.
I have never felt more outnumbered in my life, because not only NA, but mostly NA happening in the crowd.
You're outnumbered, my dude.
I'm very outnumbered.
And I want to talk about what we heard from Rich in his winner's interview, because Jhow, he said he believes HeroesHearth can win versus Team Liquid. And I know you guys out there, you also believe NA can take out Europe here and go farther than they've gone in BlizzCon before. Were you guys expecting to hear that from Rich?
I mean, I don't think I was expecting to hear that out of Rich's mouth, but I will say that I very much agree with that sentiment. I do not walk into the series feeling like either team has that big of an upper hand. And when we look at maybe some of the draft patterns out of both teams, I feel like HeroesHearth is the one coming in with a lot of question marks, whereas Team Liquid has been rather rigid in their drafting. So if I'm HeroesHearth, I go, I know what you're going to make happen. I can counter that, and I have a chance here to move on and, you know, really kind of outperform North America over the past couple of years.
Right. Well, let's check in with the bracket for this event. Gen G with the win over the One. Move on to the semifinals, where they will face the victor of our next match, HeroesHearth Esports versus Team Liquid. It's a toughie, but you know what? When you get to that point, it's going to be hard regardless, because on the other side of the bracket, you've got teams like Dignitas, you got the Korean scary teams like Miracle and Tempest, and Tempo Storm. They said it themselves, no one's going to want to play versus us, right, Jhow?
It really feels like Gen G in that first series was maybe the one where you could say, all right, we feel this is the team that's going to win, but it seems like every other matchup that we have, it's almost a coin flip.
Later on, what we're going to see is Korea versus Korea with Miracle versus Tempest. But with Dignitas Tempo Storm, do you expect Tetcher Tempo Storm to put up more of a fight versus Dig than what we got from the One?
I mean, I would like to say so, because Tempo Storm have been looking very good throughout the weekend. They've been, throughout the opening week, they did stick to their style very effectively, but you have to look at Dignitas' play and start to have hesitation in that, as Dignitas have arguably looking stronger than Gen G so far. So I think it's going to be definitely an entertaining game whichever way it goes, but right now, I'm thinking it's still going to be closer.
North America has brought in a very different meta than what we've, yeah, a very, very different meta than, and even between the two teams, their own flavors of that meta. Are we expecting these things to continue? Are we expecting to see adjustments, Jhow, past what we got in the group stage?
A lot of what we've seen from HeroesHearth and Tempo Storm, I think, is exactly what you can expect here.
Right.
But then I look at Team Liquid, and I think we have not seen just the tip of the iceberg. You think you still got Hasu and players like that that have these strange, unique heroes that they have. I guarantee it's time to come out for those.
Well, up next, two fan favorite teams clash in a classic matchup as NA's finest, HeroesHearth Esports, attempts to overtake Europe and Team Liquid.
So we came out, we're very happy with how we've done so far, and we've frankly starting to build up a little confidence going into the next phase of this thing, even if we didn't start the whole tournament with it. But we're very happy, and for me, this being my first ever BlizzCon tournament, I'm super pumped to play on the stage.
The player I'm most looking at on Liquid is Arcaner. I'm pretty sure he drafts for them, shot calls for them, and most of the time it seems like the team is kind of playing around him and his success. So if we can try to choke him out on Heroes and kind of frustrate him, I think they'll struggle. Playing in front of the crowd at BlizzCon is going to be incredible. Last year when we were in the crowd watching, there was so many USA chants, and you could feel the NA teams kind of feeding off the energy and getting really pumped up. So we're definitely going to look to abuse that kind of momentum that we already have being the home team, while also trying to stay calm and not getting too riled up.
The opening week went very well for us as Team Liquid. We split with Gen G 1-1 and we managed to 2-0 Tempo Storm, which was a big achievement.
Yeah, it will be the first time I play in front of the BlizzCon crowd. From what I heard, it's like truly amazing. It's a lot of people, and there's always a lot of energy exchange within the crowd and the players, because you know we players also get very loud when things get hyped within the game.
Our matchup against HeroesHearth is going to be a difficult one. I think they're quite a scary team regarding the meta that they have and the pocket picks that they have. We're going to be showing them respect in draft, and we're going to study them a lot. But I'm confident that we're going to be the stronger team on the day and that we'll meet Gen G in the semi-finals.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, many of these players, it is their first time on the BlizzCon stage. Let's lend them your energy. In the red corner, the #2 seed from Europe, it is Team Liquid! And over in the blue corner, the hometown boys, North America's own HeroesHearth Esports! All right, captains, center stage, shake hands. Crowan, this way, my man. Hasu. May the best team win. All right, this is going to be an amazing matchup. Gilly, take it away.
They may have started off slowly in the group stage, but Team Liquid has been gaining steam. The only team to take a game off of Gen G at this tournament. And now maybe their toughest hurdle yet with North America and a North American crowd and a North American meta. But for me, the longer we see this team, Tetcher, the more it feels like the story of this team is the story of Arcaner.
Absolutely. Arcaner, he came from ANZ originally playing for Nomia, came over to Europe, played for a couple different teams, but he finally seems to have found a home, and his play has really shown that. He's really become a standout player for Europe. And like HeroesHearth said, a lot of his drafting strategy has also influenced the team, and you're really starting to see that come into play during the latter phases of opening week.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I went back and I watched some of these games. It's like the opposite. Team Liquid started out phase 2. They were on a tear, stumbled a little bit, but now they're back on that big spree that we saw them. And I watched Arcaner, different builds, different play. There was only one mistake in that game against Gen G, but he played almost a perfect game on that Genji when he played against Gen G on Tomb of the Spider Queen. I went back and watched that. I was like, he put on such a masterful individual performance that it was one of the reasons why they were able to win that. But the team as a whole is so strong right now at every single position.
But Dreadnought, some of those drafts did start to be easy to recognize. How important is it that there's some change up here for Team Liquid?
I think it's very, very important, because I would argue some of the patterns that we see in the drafting style is specifically talking about the high Decker priority and the low Diablo, and changing that out with the Garrosh there for Sport Billy, I feel like leaves them very, very susceptible to the macro-oriented play that North America is bringing to the table here. Specifically, if there is a world where Garrosh ends up getting high selected and an Abathur is on the side of HeroesHearth Esports, HeroesHearth Esports is going to play Ring Around the Rosie and command answers all over the battleground.
Yeah, J-How, HeroesHearth Esports was another pleasant surprise in the group stage. They placed second in their group. They're going up against Team Liquid, who were third in theirs. Granted, there was a couple of Korean teams in their groups, let's be honest here. But even still, they only fully lost to Dignitas. They went 1-1 with the one. They took out Tempest. They took out Leftovers. This is North America's best hope.
It's amazing what this team has accomplished since its inception, coming from the open division, coming through, and they've always been about about team synergy. Their drafts in basic abilities and the big combos that we see, they will always be about executing compositions together as a team. They do everything as a team, and as they've gone on, they've only grown wiser to play the map even better. They've got McIntyre there. It seems like this element of this team is about synergy and coming together, but it requires a lot of execution. They're one of the rare teams that you can say they can get away with this with whatever draft, so it's going to be fun to watch.
Right, even with a sub that's gone to star status, Hami, and how he played when he was ringing around the Rosie with his Illidan on Towers of Doom. But let's focus even more on two players who are in a very important moment of their life, and that is Hasuabs and McIntyre. Both of them have been trying for so long to make it here to the BlizzCon stage, and they had to make it through the group stage. You can look back to B-Step, you can look back to the Barrel Boys for McIntyre, but he has always been trying to get to this stage, and then even further past that. Hasuabs, he joined Mouse Sports for Warcraft 3 in 2003, 15 years, Tetra, he's been trying to get right here.
He has been playing esports for about 3/5 of the time that I have been alive, and this is the first time he's managed to make it to BlizzCon, trying across 3 different games. He has finally done it. He's playing on the main stage, and I'm so excited to see what he can do.
Dread, it's a huge deal in your career to play on this stage right here.
It really is. Definitely some of my greatest memories are very much standing where those players are currently. And again, I said it earlier in the opening week when talking and highlighting these two players, but for me, the mental strength that they have had to be able to just retry over and over again, and more importantly, be leaders when in every one of those rosters. It's honestly something that is very, very inspiring to me, and something that I think all of us here can very much appreciate.
Well, we see the vote. It is favored toward Team Liquid. Do you guys agree with that? Is it just too close to call, J-How?
Look, I hate to say it in front of this crowd. I went back, and I've been watching a lot of Team Liquid's games lately. I've been watching, I'm trying to dissect what makes this team great. They've been doing so many individual things well, and the step up, I'm glad we talked about Hasuab, because as good as Arcaner has been, Hasuab shifting his priority in heroes that he's been playing has allowed Arcaner to be able to make those plays. And for Team Liquid, it seems like they have the perfect element. Nurok switching, they've got Sport Billy, who's been playing out of his mind on that tank role. They have really come together at what seems to be like the perfect moment. So I don't think the votes are that far off right now, but HeroesHearth, you never know what you're going to get.
I love HeroesHearth style. They're an incredibly solid macro team. I really enjoy it, but like J-How said, there's so many key players on this team. Nurok support is some of the best I've seen, and Hasuabs, his Ring of Frosts, were game-winning during the group phase.
And key players in the audience, too, because I know there's a lot of family support here. We heard from Arcaner's parents. We saw Arcaner's parents, as well as some people who weren't Arcaner's parents. And I know McIntyre's family is here. We're all Arcaner's parents, and we're all pumped. So let's do it, the Battleground pool for this best of 3 between NA and EU. And here it is. Battlefield of Eternity is the ban for Team Liquid. They have changed things up, but have gone back to that every now and again. Volskaya Foundry is what HeroesHearth has banned, and that is an interesting one considering it's been Shrines all the way through the group stage. But we have seen Team Liquid pick quite a lot of Volskaya Foundry. What we haven't seen them pick is Towers of Doom. There is your change up. There, we're getting it now from Team Liquid.
Towers of Doom has just been a classic opener for a lot of teams throughout this tournament, and it has given us some of the best matches so far. But it's also, we talk about the new Team Liquid, this is where the old Team Liquid would on the odd occasion bust out something a little creative from time to time.
I think,
yeah, specialists.
I think that's the name of the game, is that Team Liquid, they haven't had to show a lot. They've shown some strong picks, but they haven't shown a lot. The Abathur, you can bet that Abathur will likely not be seen for the rest of what seems like this tournament. Zeratul, also a strong pick that HeroesHearth has relied on, has been taken away.
The Maya being let through, something that we have not seen very frequently throughout the entirety of opening week there. And there is the high garage priority that we've been seeing and expecting here out of this Team Liquid here. But I think the removal of the Zeratul is very, very important when it comes to this draft. I think McIntyre's look great on the hero, and we'll see if it pays out for Liquid.
So a question here, with Zeratul and Abathur banned out, global suddenly become a lot more viable, including a very particular global that we used to see from our lovely Hasuabs. Could this be the potential for the last pick Lost Viking turn?
I think that's important to note, because with the Maiev pick, you don't really know what you get, but you take away the Zeratul, one of the great Viking hunters, and then you could go into a Tracer if you wanted to, if your Team Liquid. Arcaner's been playing out of his mind. But the Maiev pick, the Blaze in Europe, I watched this, I watched the Dignitas replays the other day. today, that Blaze has been one of the best counters towards Maiev initiations that you'll see. So the high priority on the Blaze, no surprise here. It's a great counter, and you have the Garrosh there to survive a lot of that. So when you see the Anubrak, he might actually be going for cocoons on that Blaze as opposed to any support that comes in.
And I'm really surprised, actually, to see the Malfurion ban. One of the few teams at this tournament that is willing to pick Malfurion, only below that of Deckard, is Team Liquid. And they do it with this Garrosh pickup. And that's some of the rigidness I was talking about in this drafting from Team Liquid. But you have a Tyrande, a new Maiev. Your kill potential is far greater than a Malfurion could ever heal. So I suddenly have a lot of questions here. Yes, the Blaze Bunker is a pause button that they're going to need, but I feel like it's maybe a lost ban there for HeroesHearth.
But that started all the way back with Deckard Cain, right? That's the issue, is that whenever Team Liquid was in that second pick position, it's Blaze, Deckard, and then they didn't get that, so then they brought up the Garrosh faster. But now not Malfurion there. We'll have to see what Nurok ends up being on, but at least they do get Arcaner's Li Ming, which was standout versus Tempo Storm.
It really was. They were able to get blow up after blow up, and although Anubrak can have beetles that can block it, Li Ming also turns around the countering a little bit, of course, with Disintegrate onto the Cocoon. And you look at Tyrande, look at Hanzo, you have potentially squishy members against that Li Ming. The Viking's Dream is unfortunately dead, but Nurok is going to be able to get a support. But with two of his favorites banned out, we are going to be seeing the White Mane coming out for the first time in a while. It was so rare during opening week.
I really love the Dahaka pick because the flank position on Towers of Doom, it's always so prominent in team fights. You've got the Cocoon. Yes, that can be busted up by Li Ming pretty quick, but as long as you can dive on that backline and create enough disruption, White Mane gets the majority of the healing through damage. I mean, that's where it comes in at. You can still get the Scarlet Aegis off, but the Dahaka pick, very good pickup for McIntyre.
Well, consider the fact that Hami used to play some Dahaka too. We've seen some of the flexibility, some of the changes with Hami and McIntyre to allow McIntyre to play more of the melee assassins like Zeratul. Are we expecting some kind of change up here? Looking at Hanzo, which is normally Crowan.
I think we're going to see McIntyre still probably going to find himself onto the Dahaka in this type of situation, but it is one of those questions that I think Team Liquid can't be absolute about going into the series, because it has been a very mix-up, heavy mix-up when looking at who is going to be playing what for McIntyre and friends, since we've got Homicidal here on HeroesHearth roster. Yeah,
it has just felt like McIntyre, when he is on more of that playmaking role, sometimes he gets caught in rotations, but he also makes some fantastic plays. How are we feeling about these drafts, guys? Who do we have as a favorite? Tetcher?
Maiev is always solid. You can still go for the containment disc, as we've already talked about. Warden's Cage can be shut down by Indomitable and Bunker, so I'm quite liking Liquid's playing around that. But if we go for a containment disc blow-up style with Tyrande, HeroesHearth draft is pretty good.
Give me a containment disc on the Blaze, take away that bunker, have everything else kind of swarm around that. The Cocoon doesn't matter. It takes away resources from that, and I think that's your excellent execution that you can go with, because that bunker is always a great counter towards the Warden's Cage, the containment disc. You take away that, I think that's a very good start for HeroesHearth.
Yeah, you got containment and Cocoon too, so even if you have the concern about Cocoon with Li Ming, that's a lot of isolation.
HeroesHearth very heavily looked at some of the draft patterns of Team Liquid and came in with their own iteration of the game plan to take it out, and I think that they walked away with nearly everything that they were hoping for. The only deviation, maybe they didn't expect to get their hands on the Maiev, but with the Tyrande and the 2-3, that's totally fine for you and your team as long as you're not out macroed. Dahaka into the Blaze, it's an even matchup here. I think HeroesHearth got what they wanted, and honestly, I think I give them the upper hand.
Well, the players are ready. We're ready. I want to know, are you guys ready? Let's do it. NA versus EU starts now.
Dreadnought, here we go. This is North America versus Europe. Everybody loves these matchups. We get it here. HeroesHearth has blown up on the scene in North America. Got a lot of fans out there, but Team Liquid, for me, I don't know, man. I feel really strong about what they've been achieving over the last week plus.
I think that they have made a lot happen, but again, I will keep raising the point that I personally feel like Sport Billy has adjusted their drafts too heavily onto the Garrosh to make sure he can be that threat into the front line. He is a monster when he is on the hero, but is the priority something that is actually accurate when looking at objective meta at the international level? To be honest, that's why we have this series at hand. We can find answers to these type of questions, JL.
Well, let's find them right now. It's time to get this started, because it's going to be HeroesHearth on the left here in blue. That's going to be Crowan on his familiar Hanzo. PBJ will be supporting on Tyrande. Mac will indeed be on that Dahaka Ishbu on Anubrak, meaning Hami will be on that Maiev. Give it up for HeroesHearth!
And in the red, their counterpart, Team Liquid, where we have Sport Billy on the Garrosh. Eternal is going to be repping on the Blaze in that offlane. Arcaner looking for resets, finding critical mass on the Li Ming. Nurok playing the White Mane, and last up here we have Hasuwabs on his Rainer. Let's hear it for Team Liquid.
The vision control, the map control. Dread, I'm looking forward to that 1 minute mark because that's when a lot of these games on Towers of Doom get started. Look for that priority on that Blaze to fast clear and then maybe Dahaka get the Brush Stalker in. EU and NA, they're the two best at making sure they get those rotations toward those camps. I think that's, if you're looking for early engagements, that's when you're going to find it. Here in the early game, Ishbu dodging a little bit of fire there.
Yeah, Ishbu able to make it out there, and already one thing to point out here is HeroesHearth Esports going with a very different laning situation than you would expect when you have a Tyrande kill potential comp starting as early level 1, respecting the macro control and the Garrosh counterplay by Liquid, going for that pressure in top and then that on bottom. But you are right, that level 1 or minute 1 fight over probably going to be that Sapper camp with the brush shot coming in. That is where this is really going to turn up for these teams.
Just watch your mini-map and look for the Blaze at the top of the mini-map right now. When he starts to make that rotation down, somebody's going to try and make a play around that. If they can get a fast clear with the Hanzo, you can see the scouting out of the Sentinel. And if Dahaka, if HeroesHearth wants to come in, it's scary against the Garage. You don't necessarily want to dive in there, but you always have that threat if you want to push that out there. But you can see the Blaze made the rotation down. All things normal as expected for teams of this caliber.
And right now, HeroesHearth, though, they are the team that wants to be able to get those skirmishes more than that of Team Liquid. Team Liquid has a better post-10 team fight where the kill potential greater for HeroesHearth Esports. Yes, the kill potential is going to be there for HeroesHearth post-10 due to the isolation, but that is demanding a lot of resources and a lot of heroics. And right now, they want to rely on their default kit. The only other way that I'm going to see a major upper hand here is I feel like it's a Team Liquid gets a play into this laning phase, because HeroesHearth is losing in the macro front over the laning phase, and that's never good here with their kill potential comp.
It will get a little easier at level 4. Hanzo, we traditionally see that scatter arrow build for some of the camp control, but the explosive arrow, when you don't have that type of wave clear, could be the pickup and making that wave clear easier. He does go explosive arrow at 4. So that was a moment where I agree with you. Team Liquid might have been able to force their advantage. They tried to look for the pick, didn't get it. Now both teams sitting at 4, so we're about 45 seconds away from this game really kicking off with the objective.
For now, HeroesHearth is comfortable getting that kind of tri-lane pressure on the bottom half, anchoring with Ishbu there, scouting out with the Beetle, just going to use that for a solid amount of dismount. And as you said, as at level 4 there for Crow, and we got the explosive arrows and suddenly macro control in favor of HeroesHearth, but that is only going to last until we hit the heroic threshold. 22 seconds out from our very first triple altar phase of the game, and with a global in the hands of HeroesHearth and kill potential in their favor, still going to lean towards them here over this first shrine phase.
Well, here we go. We are seconds away. See how these teams approach this. During the triple altar phase, you know there's going to be a point of contention for one of these, and Sportbilly's positioning already says that we are looking to take control over this bottom area, looking to control the flank, see if he can get the flip. Ishbu will have to deny in the meantime. So we see both teams. There's actually a slight denial in that top right by HeroesHearth. Here we go.
Stack of scattering and the Sentinel, though. Oh, look at that. Brush shot coming in from McIntyre. Nurok in a bad spot with a 2-man impale. The Lunar Flare comes in, and that is going to be first blood for HeroesHearth Esports. Follow-up drag lands on the Sportbilly body blocks there, and HeroesHearth claim a double kill.
That's that you want to see it if you're a fan here. You can hear the crowd erupting there. There's going to be the tether onto Eternal, but that is a Blaze. He'll be able to get away, but HeroesHearth with the early control will go up 36-32 behind that double. Now they've got that slight experience advantage to go with it.
Cheeky plays here from HeroesHearth, but I got to bring it back to planet Earth here really quick, crowd, because we have to remember that the advantage exists 1 through 9 in the name of HeroesHearth Esports. This could look very, very different once we get post-heroic threshold. But we'll see if that is going to be the case, because HeroesHearth can find ways to snowball this macro pressure with this kill potential into a double sapper, gaining momentum when it comes to macro. When that happens, the Dahaka problem gets very, very real, very, very fast, J-How.
Well, you can see Ishbu, he sniffed out that camp. He's like, wait a minute, nobody's on this, do we? Don't we? Do we? Don't we? You can see the decision making there. If they can wait on that Dahaka to have that global up, maybe they make a play. Sappers move in, get some early damage in. Ishbu will peel by himself, keeping Sportbilly at bay. Always a threat on that Garrosh. A 7 picked up here by Team Liquid.
Maiev making the transition up towards top. It might be a problem, but Ishbu actually counter-thrown down below. Got a nice burrow charge to find his way out of that. Blaze, though, not too heavily threatened there. Eternal is just fine. Actually, I say that with Dragon here blanding. He's got Jeff blocked. Oh, McIntyre unable to find enough autos to get that in a nice penetrating round from Hasu, saying, I got your back here. And we're going to be waiting out now here towards this next altar phase. And conveniently enough, 25 seconds out.
Dread, you know he was probably one auto attack away from getting that cooldown reduction on. Another drag just getting behind there, but the threat is real. With that countdown, we do find ourselves 15 seconds away, but this is a single alter phase. The global in favor of HeroesHearth. See if maybe they can play the stall game. We've seen that before in this positioning. You've got the stalling from a Hanzo, from the Tyrande with that extra range, even the blades, the impale that can come out from a Nubarak. So you have several tools for HeroesHearth. See how they address this and whether Team Liquid might be able to force the advantage early.
And it's important to note, because of that double stall you talked about between the Hanzo and Tyrande, Maiev is very comfortable just clearing midway for free. Blaze can handle just a Dahaka. He cannot handle that Maiev rotation out. So this could be stalled for HeroesHearth if they would like to do so. But for now, it's a 4-man commitment, making sure to rid of some of those sappers as Ishbu threatened back there with a nice groundbreaker.
9.5 and climbing for HeroesHearth. See, now that Blaze is showing top, if Dahaka will pull the trigger and go ahead and come mid, but with Li Ming showing, it seems like HeroesHearth will be able to move forward. Dread, looks like another altar will be channeled here for HeroesHearth.
And with that, going to find Team Liquid's core down to 28 shots on it to the 36 of them. But you do want to bring it back to the fact that I think this game could look different with the Heroics. But if the double cocoon, or excuse me, the double isolation between the containment disc and from the cocoon coming out hits the Blaze and the White Mane, that is a dead Li Ming, pick a character, it doesn't matter. They're going down. They have no opportunity to be able to find a way out of that situation. And that is going to be the Heroic choices pick up, even getting ourselves a Starfall here for BBJ.
We're actually not seeing the double isolation now. Interesting pickup. We'll see how that plays out as we go forward. See if they can maybe just get the raw isolation, coming in by way of an actual Heroic call down.
There is an interesting kind of circumstance here that I might argue is part of the reason we don't see the full double isolation, and that is if they can find a way to be able to threaten the White Mane. She's the highest priority. When Bunker comes out, you know who's very, very good at dealing with everybody hiding in a nice little bunker? It's that Starfall, dropping on top of so many members. It really preps the team up for a nice kill situation here. I do wonder, is that too bold of a call out though from HeroesHearth Esports against a rival team like Team Liquid?
Well, they love their combos. We'll see if they can pull it off. 11-10 here for HeroesHearth. Another Sapper camp picked up, continuing to maintain vision. There's that owl. Hami's like, wait a minute. You can see that Rainer's Raider just kind of sniffing. When you know that's around, that means Rainer's around, and Rainer never travels alone. He always has support nearby, as Crowan landing some shots there on Sport Billy as he passes by.
Yeah, usually when you find Rainer with, a solo vacation, the vacation doesn't last too long. He's quickly finds his way back home very quick. Jet Propulsion going to be warned there by Ishbu. Nice protection over Crowan, knowing 9 seconds out from this solo alter phase. As we were talking about the last time, though, the Dahaka macro pressure with the Sappers, Maiev getting the clear through mid. This is another great moment for HeroesHearth if they can stall.
Yeah, stall is the name of the game. We'll see if they can go in. There's one stall right there. See if they can get another. Good movement here. Nobody eating that Sentinel there. There's another one. Ishbu, see if he can go forward, get one of his own. But now Hami comes in. That's going to be the reset on the fan. We'll go ahead and get out of dodge there as that Sapper camp's picked up. And now they can continue to play that Sapper game in that top lane. Team Liquid, they've got to make something happen. They can't continue to give up control elsewhere because now 13 is the threat, Dreadnought.
Now putting Team Liquid in a lose-lose scenario. They find themselves with a 5-man opportunity. Sport Billy split from the rest of the team. Luna Flare goes out. Nice delay there by Eternal. Dahaka still prepping up on top. Natural agility use so Crowan can escape outward, but Team Liquid now knowing they have the man advantage is getting kind of aggressive here, willing to posture up.
Well, here we go. Ishbu will get another delay. 13 rounding here for HeroesHearth. See if they can maybe make something happen. Dahaka getting that mid lane. Ishbu, that's going to be the cut. That's going to be kill number 1 there, and that just stalls all momentum for HeroesHearth.
Yeah, HeroesHearth Esports does not have a realistic opportunity to get that 20-second delay. It's even longer than that when you consider the travel time of the Anubarak over. Willing to sacrifice this, set the core down to 32, and suddenly Team Liquid is back in a very realistic position to claim this game. Because, if that goes different, and we see that stall, the 13 break, and that picked up, I suddenly go, how can Team Liquid recover in this game? So great play here from them.
Couldn't agree with you more. That was a great play. Speaking of plays, we've got isolation hit on that. Followed up drag. That is a perfect play by McIntyre to land the isolation, have it timed perfectly to land that drag. There is no bunker, nothing that can save him there. So a perfect play made up there by HeroesHearth. They said, look, we gave up 1. Let's get 1 in back.
Yeah, very well done here. HeroesHearth maybe finding another, forcing out that Indomitable out from Sport Billy. That's a crowd control kind of cleanse that he may want there. Ishbu not feeling totally comfortable to pull the trigger yet with Maiev. Slow to make the transition to this southern lane.
Ooh, that top lane, if we get this control for HeroesHearth on that side, know that that can just mean control in the bottom lane inevitably, because Team Liquid would have to respond to that over time, barring no kills like the blow-up team fights we've seen. That bottom lane control is where you want it. The top lane is good, Dread, but it's all for situational control later in the game.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I'm going to claim top, and really what I'm doing is buying bottom in 5 minutes. It's kind of the play that you see in this type of situation. It's definitely a long-term investment here for HeroesHearth Esports if we get that conversion. For anybody wondering what that maybe looks like, HeroesHearth put on a clinic against Tempest on Towers of Doom with that exact same play. Yes, there is no Illidan here, so maybe not as good of domination on that macro sense, but still very, very similar to that play style. 20 seconds out, double altars available, and now it's a dead even game. Unlikely to see HeroesHearth get that delay tactic for the 16 threshold like we saw over the last ult.
Yeah, I was about to ask you about that, because you're almost 15 and 16 is there, and the delay seems great. The experience would be nice, but we saw what happens. Eventually, you've got to make the perfect play so many times, and we'll see. But Dahaka's coming in. There's going to be the toss taunt. In comes Dahaka. He's going to try and make the play. They're diving in, Dread.
Arcane are able to get the teleport out, but there is Whitemane along with the Warden's Cage into the fray, flipping out there. And now Eternal unable to hit the jet propulsion because of that Warden's Cage lockdown. That's 3 heroics here for the 4 of Team Liquid, as they're willing to move up. Crowan gets interrupted there. Yet to see the tether follow-up coming out from Homicidal as McIntyre and friends pull themselves back.
Hami just getting reset after reset on those spans, just stacking up that damage. Both altars still available. See if one team splits off here. The bottom point is the point of contention for now. Hanzo's getting into that back line, I believe, to confirm that channel. See if they can maybe double up on it.
And Team Liquid is just so split up here in this decision-making, unable to find that interrupt. They did get it once more, but McIntyre zoning off. That's 4 shots for HeroesHearth Esports, not at the cost of bottom, at least not yet. Sentinel warned by Sport Billy. Great job there. Scatter Arrow unable to connect, and Hasu finds himself a counter, 4 shots.
I think you pointed it out there. It was all about that Sentinel grab there by Sport Billy on the front line to stop the bleeding. The threat of 16 starting to spring up here for HeroesHearth. HeroesHearth, though, they do have that 4-shot lead, but this is Towers of Doom. We know anything can happen on this map. It just feels like HeroesHearth has this control for now. They're got the full level lead, making plays. We're still waiting for Team Liquid. They might have to play right here.
Vault down, no escape opportunities here. He is on an island by himself. There is the slow and a reset there, achieved by our Arcaner. Great job from Eternal, identifying the Homicidal. Burns every cooldown possible to escape that. Says, boys, we found ourselves a nice little bait here, and they end up getting a kill, and it could not have come at a better time to buy some breathing room in that 16 talent tier window.
It's all about the adaptation throughout the game. He's been doing it so much where it's a matter, he ease, and then he's like, all right, look, I'm going to go in, I'm going to try and get a few Qs off, get a little harassment going, and then he ease out. And they've been reading this, seeing this happen over and over. Now, as the game goes on, they're like, wait a minute, we can turn this, we can make up this ground. So for Hami, maybe it's time to dial those poke style back, because every kill at this stage of the game can mean a major turn. As we go on, the Sappers in the top getting some damage in against HeroesHearth.
And the thought process there for Homicidal was actually definitely justifiable, though it was very risky. He broke Fog onto the Blaze, so he was like, if he jet propulsioned instantly, this would hit me now. Drops the vault and then quickly goes, oh, there's no jet propulsion behind that one. Might have given you up there upper hand there, but talking about upper hand, not going to be for HeroesHearth very long. As 16 is just around this corner for Team Liquid, trying to get the defense, and we have ourselves another triple altar phase. Compositionally speaking, still give this over to HeroesHearth, but we'll see if Liquid can find a way to out-macro and out-rotate North America.
Well, here we go. Dahaka already in position. Ishbu wants to get out of dodge before Sport Billy moves in, knowing that he doesn't have that available. Ishbu's positioning very cautious, very safe. In comes Dahaka on the right side, though, Dread.
Yeah, trying to find that drag. Indomitable use. Dragon's Arrow is going to be a whip. Throwing down the Warding's Cage is going to pull back Sport Billy for a moment. There we see the isolation used onto Sport Billy, but he's just fine. Drag lands onto Arcaner, and look at that! HeroesHearth find themselves the first kill out of this. Eternal, though, looking for a counterplay. Starfall stopping the retreat out from him. Jet Propulsion and the Impale will kind of stop that and thwart that a little bit longer, but Mac looks for the altar, and he finds it.
And there we go. HeroesHearth will find themselves up 24-16 as they look to maybe gain some more control over this battleground as the lead mounts some more here as we round the 14.5-minute mark. And HeroesHearth, they are full 5-man in, trying to take control of this bottom lane. It's still too early. They don't necessarily have the sieging comp to really burst this down, Dread.
But the anti-siege is also not so easy or great there for Team Liquid. Not having Arcaner on the Li Ming, it's very difficult for them to really kind of threaten that back. Arcaner is going to be back online now for Liquid. And before things get a little bit too wild, Jay-How, I want to bring it back to the draft and some of the things done there. With the high garage value that we can expect from SportBilly and friends, HeroesHearth in-game, not only in the draft, but in-game, is adjusting their playstyle to abuse his failure to be able to initiate. They're constantly going, hey, do you want to deal with this here? The answer is no. SportBilly can't get on top of it, so then we threaten elsewhere. And this kind of back and forth is the only reason they find themselves leading here on Towers of Doom.
Well, here we go. The control, the calm before the storm, so to speak, right now as we get to the later stages of the game. It will be double altar phase, Dreadnought, where it's left, right. Generally, we'll see teams maybe just be very passive, trade willingly, but you might not have to trade, as that's going to be Ishbu getting blown up and caught out in rotation.
Great job there for Liquid, and it felt like the last kill was very conveniently timed, but this one, maybe even more so, as that is going to be a 10-second difference between that double altar phase and Ishbu being alive, not even considering the travel time. That is a minimum 5 seconds, likely going to be more about 10. So what I'm trying to say here is 20 seconds of breathing room to be very, very aggressive over this next altar phase for Team Liquid. And considering that they've got themselves sappers on bottom to demand answers, this is looking like a great breaking point and turning point for Liquid.
Yeah, the rotation for HeroesHearth right now is a little slow. We'll see if Team Liquid can get into position, because now they have the availability to get the early cap on their own altar. Although we do see that top right bell tower claimed. And now we'll see there's one delay. Ishbu now respawning. See if they have enough delays to come in here. BBJ trying to get an angle, making sure to get that sentinel in, but in goes Hami.
Ball down, and there's the escape. Warlord's challenge is actually a bit of a miss there, and suddenly HeroesHearth gets aggressive. Dragon Daryl hits the four-man, the lunar flare, and the into the fray is going to be able to save out for long. Now we see SportBilly trying to get the retreat. Warden's Cage ends up going thrown down, and Homicidal out too far. Flamethrowers are there, and Liquid fight back.
Well, we're trying to get the channel in. If you're HeroesHearth, they do get it. That or just misses there. Crowing though, in comes the reset. Calamity comes in. Arcaner confirms a kill. That's a double in favor of Team Liquid. Despite the shots going over to HeroesHearth with the lead, they now may be giving up control, and Team Liquid starting to pick up steam here, Dread.
Team Liquid is very much being able to pick up steam, but they have to find a way to get back that bell tower conversion up on top. That is why we're going to see that transition out from them, likely after maybe a boss pit stop. We'll see what they want to prioritize here, and that is going to be the case. I will argue, I almost would have liked to see, though I don't think that this boss is going to be safer in this decision-making, macro control over boss control. Yeah. Macro control is where HeroesHearth, if they're going to recover and dominate throughout this game, that's the place they're going to do it. And HeroesHearth, or Liquid, excuse me, is being a little bit slow to answer that. Though they are going to get the conversion, they're still going to give a lot of area and time for HeroesHearth to counter push, and that could be a big setback.
Yeah, you'll essentially have a soft reset. Remember, when that portal opens is the same time these bell towers turn into keeps, which means more XP when you get that. So that middle will be reclaimed by HeroesHearth, and you'll see the experience jump on both of these teams. Take down these bell towers. There's 20 for HeroesHearth, and there's 20 for Team Liquid, but HeroesHearth has the ever-important number, Dreadnought. That's 17 to 11 in terms of core health.
17 to 11. HeroesHearth, I feel like at the end of this game, maybe looking back to that bell tower conversion moment and saying this was what kept us here into this game. SportBilly sharking around here as we sit 22 seconds out from the double altar between middle and bottom. Bell towers are dead even across the board, and we've got to keep our eyes on SportBilly. He has been the key playmaker here for Team Liquid every time they've got the upper hand. There's the indomitable flip onto Crowin. Do they get the kill? No reset yet. Natural agility over the wall, and look at this. SportBilly's out of here.
There's going to be one. The bunker goes down. All three members dive in for now. See if they try and make some plays here, because there's a lot of playmaking potential when they have. Hami goes in just out of range. Double altars are up right now. McIntyre comes in. Team Liquid, Dreadnought, if they give up both, they will be down to 3 core health. See if Team Liquid can maybe try and deny one of these, but HeroesHearth is in a very good position right now.
With 40-second man advantage, as you said, that is likely going to be those shots and the 3 remaining. The question is where do they find those elsewhere? That boss pickup by Team Liquid is denied a win condition opportunity, but sappers are available everywhere onto the battleground, and that is where HeroesHearth is going to focus themselves now. Already having Homicidal pick that up on bottom. Bell tower conversion
is here. Threatening.
Can they make all 3 sappers get past that line of scrimmage? If they do, this is game 1 to North America.
HeroesHearth with 3 sappers can end it. Garage 10 seconds away. See if maybe they look to just get control over this battleground. Those sappers will warrant a response. Hami and team looking to move over somewhat to this mid lane. We'll see how they approach this. HeroesHearth, whether they go for it or whether they look to play maybe a longer game with this amount of lead. 17 to 3, the sappers come forward, but Arcaner and team here to defend.
Sapper 1 moving its way up here. The Beetle's kind of in the way for now. A lot of damage there, so no win condition available as it goes down. There is the kill and the clearance here from Team Liquid, but because of the lack of macro control into their favor in their name currently, they have to answer and deal with HeroesHearth. We have McIntyre in the side lanes building up that macro pressure over and over again, and then that is going to set them and enable them here for a big power play with Brush Stop in a couple of seconds.
Yeah, it just, you can see the Blaze has to respond to those lanes, and then at a moment's notice, McIntyre can join on that bottom right bush you see in your screen to join this to make it a 5-on-5, a 5-on-4, which is, you see a Thermal down here. All hands on deck here for Team Liquid to try and regain control, because it is 30 seconds away from what could be the final and game-deciding altar here. We'll find out momentarily.
Sport Billy moving to cut off the choke here. Nice scatter arrow out from Crowan, able to give vision and poke and prod to the members of Liquid. 5-man collapse here from Team Liquid, 12 seconds out. HeroesHearth is very split around this corner. Nice lunar flare, big scatter arrow from Crowan, forcing out the jet propulsion. Now 5 seconds from the altar, but Liquid is already down here in this fight.
There we go, Ishbu, he's tossed and taunted. They're trying to get the breakdown, not able to confirm the skill. Kill Scarlet Aegis already used. There's the cocoon out in response. The altar still stands here. Plenty of heroics to be had for both teams, but a lot was used on the side of Team Liquid.
But the biggest thing is the Warden's Cage, Dragon's Arrow, and Shadow Suck are all available. A huge wombo combo initiation for HeroesHearth as they find the Sentinel interrupt there. Hasuwaf trying to find another. Impale is going to deny that. There's a jet propulsion, the huge flip over. No Warlord challenge in response. Starfall going to be thrown down as the lunar flare connects, but BBJ is not going to give the reset over to Arcaner. Nice groundbreaker there. Sport Billy looking over towards Ishbu. Jet propulsion almost about to be thrown out, but he's not going to commit.
Here we go!
Dragon's Arrow, and they find the pick. Arcaner is going to be first to go down.
Will he be the last? Is there? We're going to see Sport Billy. He's trying to survive. That's going to be a double. Let's go ahead and try and make it some more as HeroesHearth is going to take down Team Liquid. As you can see, Sport Billy trying to survive, trying to hold on right now, but HeroesHearth with the triple kill. Let's go ahead. Give me some resets, homie. Let's make it 4. And you know what? Let's make it 5 for good measure as HeroesHearth will take game number 1 off of Team Liquid.
HeroesHearth started this game with a game plan to find the consistent patterns within the draft of Team Liquid. Expect them to be able to walk kind of into that door and then find a way to get a counter with their own North American flavor, and they make it look good. 10-5 when it comes down to kills. Crowan just dominating when it comes to the damage charts.
I hope we get a look at this, because Crowan had 100,000 damage. The next highest in the game was 38,000. That was insane.
That it was. And let's not forget, last year, North America made it to this round, but they did not make it beyond. They were all slapped down, and now HeroesHearth Esports is 1 game away from the semifinals. Tetcher, they came into Team Liquid's map, and they dominated.
That was solid, but I can't help but feel that could have, I'm still not sure about that Warden's Cage. There are so many opportunities where if they'd got that containment disc on the Blaze, they could have maybe got some turnaround plays, but overall, that was spectacular. The Dragon Arrows especially, and Crowan's micro in the early game was just beautiful.
I'm very surprised that we saw Team Liquid pick that map versus HeroesHearth Esports. HeroesHearth had some incredible macro play. Team Liquid were willing to choose it here. They lost to Miracle, and some of that loss, they had the early game beyond that too, but some hesitations on the altars like we saw versus HeroesHearth. How much of the concern now do you have, Dreadnought?
I came into the series concerned for Team Liquid from the start.
That's
Again,
fair.
based on this pattern that they show in the draft, I go, unless you have something else, like I would say the same thing to Temple Storm, but maybe of a different caliber, is if you don't have anything else, I have a hard time seeing you able to make it past this point in time. And HeroesHearth has been the least consistent team when it came to drafting, and I think you can argue that is a good trait or a bad one, depending on the success and thought behind it. And I think it is very clear that there was a lot of thought behind it from HeroesHearth. So I go, game number 2, Liquid, you have a lot of things you got to focus on, and it's going to start with the Garrosh. I cannot bring that up enough. Garrosh is everything to this team.
Well, I just wonder if it maybe even started with the full Sky Foundry ban, something that is a huge adjustment for HeroesHearth. Like I said, they've only banned Infernal Shrines through the group stage. And Jayhow, what kind of adjustment can you expect to give in the middle of a series? Yeah, we know Team Liquid put a lot of focus into every one of their opponents, but to have to make these kind of changes, is it possible?
Well, I mean, they had a strategy. They banned the Abathur, they banned the Zeratul. They felt safe. They know the strengths of what HeroesHearth had been adjusting to with their own drafts. But HeroesHearth, I mean, it could just be as simple if HeroesHearth is that good. I think that we're maybe ignoring the fact that HeroesHearth, they love their combos. They love to play around that. Dahaka, McIntyre's play was everything in that game at every turning tide of that moment in favor of HeroesHearth. He was constantly making that plays until that last 5-on-5 where it was a full team effort. So the draft on the side of HeroesHearth and the execution was brilliant.
Yeah, the execution worked out well for HeroesHearth, right, Toucher?
It really did, but here's why I want to show just exactly where they sometimes went a little bit wrong with their engages, but they tried to chase a little bit too deep. We're going to jump into the top shrine, and we're going to see the Dragon Arrow come out as the main engage. Eternal accidentally puts his team in danger here with the dash, and it's a beautiful follow-up. This is what HeroesHearth can do so well. Star falls out, everything's going superb, but Eternal, thanks to Sport Billy, is tossed out. A quick pop on the cocoon, and here's where it starts to go wrong. Warden's Cage, if there had been a containment disc there, that bunker wouldn't have come out and everyone would have died. Homie would have survived this engage and they would have been able to get huge plays, but instead, because of that bunker, they were able to get the turnaround and they even chased down Crowan here. But the fact is, still incredible plays. McIntyre just lucky enough to dodge that Arcane Orb. He's still able to get the turn in as well. So even when their engage goes wrong, HeroesHearth's macro play, the quick decision making, is able to net them advantages.
Yeah, I said dominated, but every single time that there was a misstep from HeroesHearth Esports, Team Liquid were very fast to punish. But the problem was that macro game. It put them where they were constantly having to just catch back up, like in the macro themselves, trying to take back bell towers.
Yeah, and that was a really big advantage that we saw, as we said before, against Tempest out from HeroesHearth Esports. And I think it does come down to some of the weaknesses of the compositional play, especially without the Decker Cane available for Nurok with the combo that they have going as a team. And I have to bring it back to, I'm still so impressed with the drafting decision-making from HeroesHearth Esports. North America, for years, I feel like I've been like, I'm just looking for you to give what you do good and just limit what your opponent does great. And it feels like for the first time in a long while, we saw a bit of that here from them.
Well, a lot of questions for Team Liquid. We'll see if they have the answers right after a quick word from our sponsors.
The 2018 HGC Finals are brought to you in part by Republic of Gamers, Corsair, T-Mobile, Samsung SSD, and NVIDIA.